Hi, this is Amanda Copeland, and I'm doing a slide presentation on CSS, corners, borders, and shadows. We're going to start with the corners. The corner syntax in CSS is actually called border radius. So inside CSS, you'll indicate the element, put it inside brackets, and use a border radius and indicate the size. The size can be indicated with pixel, percentage, or EM. We can see on the chart here that you can isolate different corners depending on how many value syntaxes you use. If you use one value syntax, you will isolate all four corners to be equally the same. By using two values, you can isolate any two. You can use the top left and the top right. If you want to isolate the top right and the bottom left, you use 2 to 3 value syntaxes. And then you can also isolate a single corner at a given time using 3 to 4 values. On the borders, the CSS syntax is simply border. You'll indicate the element, put it inside brackets, and say border. And there's 3 parts to this syntax. There's width, style, and color. The width can be generic and be indicated with thin, medium, or thick, or you can be more specific and detailed and use pixel or EM. Then you want to indicate the style, and this is a list of the styles that you can use, and you can see what they look like: dotted, dashed, solid, double, groove, ridge, inset, and outset. These ones here are great for buttons that I'm sure we'll be adding with JavaScript here pretty soon. Then you want to indicate the color. All of these border examples are done in white. Next, let's talk about shadows. There's 2 different types of shadows that I'll be discussing today. One is the box shadow, and the second is the text shadow. They both use the same elements values inside the syntax. You indicate the element inside of a bracket and you say box shadow or text shadow, and then you use the 2 different sizes, and then you'll use a fade size. All 3 of these sizes can be indicated by pixel and EM. The 2 sizes are the bottom and the right side. You can also use negative values to change the direction of the shadow to go top and left. The fade size is indicated with how blurry or sharp you want the shadow to be. If you want a crisp, solid shadow, you will use no fade size or a 0px. And if you want a more blurry shadow, you will increase the size. These down here, you can use the text shadow syntax to also do a text border, which is shown here. And these are all text shadows examples. Okay, to summarize, the corners is used by the CSS syntax border radius, and it has a size indicated by pixel, percentage, or EM. The borders are used with border, and it has a width, a style, and a color. The 2 different shadows is a box shadow and a text shadow, and they both have 2 sizes and a fade amount. Let's see what that looks like on an actual website. Here I created a simple website with just some paragraphs, some headers, and some images. On this first image, you can see that the border radius is 25px, and you can see the comparison of this one, which is 50px. So the curvature increases as you increase the px, or the size. Next, down here, you can see I isolated some corners. The top left corner is isolated with 1000px, giving the largest curvature. The bottom left and the top right are indicated with 50px, and then this bottom right corner has 0px, so it's just a straight corner. I also added some padding to it to show you that when you have a shadow and a padding, the shadow will show up after the padding. If I had no shadow here, then the padding would blend right into the background as it does on this edge and this edge. So depending on what you want, you can really use the CSS shading with padding and the border radius to really control the look of your images. And this doesn't have to be just with images. You can see here that I used a border with a border radius on these different divs that I separated them into. Now this one is isolating two corners to be the same, and it gives this really nice effect. So that's all I have on there is a border radius. I have no padding or shadow. And here you can see I just flipped the sizes to swap the corners. And here I did add a shadow, and you can see that you can change the color of the shadow to match whatever style your web page is. Now down below I gave examples of text shadow and border styles. The top three are the text shadows. All of the texts are in white, and you can see how I did text shadow and give it the different sizes, and I gave it a color of purple, so that's the shadow color, purple. Here, this is how you do a border around text. You can follow this example here, and you can change the black color to whatever color you'd like. And then here's how you add kind of a blurred shadow across the back of your text. Here's an example of a dash border. This is what a double border looks like, and this is what a groove border looks like, and I did all of these in purple. And you can see the px size of this particular border is 10. That's all I have for now. Let me know if you have any questions.